Hello! I've been given a Mazda CX-3 to live with for a whole month. Quite nice. And this car is proving to be really popular in South Africa. So let's see why so many people are taking to it. Let's start with the interior because that's where you'll probably spend most of your time. Mazda's done a good job here. Although it's a small car, it feels like a luxury car. I really like the contrast stitching on the leather on the dash, and there's padded leather where your knees go up against the console. And I've really taken to Mazda's infotainment system. All the buttons are down here by the handbrake, and after a bit of use I actually stopped looking down at all and I just kept my eyes on the screen and the road. And I think I'm coming around to this sort of system over touchscreens. Mercedes, Audi, BMW, they all have very similar systems, and it's a bit easier than sort of jabbing at the screen. It's a really nice touch from Mazda, and while I think graphically they're a little bit behind the market, there's no denying the ease of use and the functionality. The CX-3 is quite unique because Mazda has decided not to follow their competitors and downsize the engine and turbocharge it. They've stuck with an old-fashioned 2-litre 4-cylinder engine with no charges of any sort. However, it is a highly modern engine, and this is a good and a bad thing. It can feel lazy sometimes because you don't have that whoosh of a turbocharger, that sort of elastic pull that we've become so used to with turbocharged engines. However, in reality, it is actually quite quick. And your fuel consumption really is dependent on how you drive. You have to drive to the engine's strengths and weaknesses, so be gentle with it and you'll see economy figures of 5.9 to the 100, which is even better than the claimed figure of 6.1 to the 100. But hammer around and then you're looking at around over 10. So you do need to just adapt your driving style. But where this Mazda really excels is ride quality and handling. There's such a premium feel to the ride quality. It's like it's from a bigger car. And the handling is genuinely sporty. You can really chuck this thing around. There's a lot of grip. It just sort of hangs on. I really like the way the CX-3 looks, and so do many people. I got so many comments about how well designed it is. It has this swooping roofline and rising shoulder line, and that makes it look really sporty. But the downside is a noticeable lack of rear interior space. The reality is, there's space for 2 adults and maybe 3 small kids in the back here. That's about it. I can just about sit behind myself, but if the driver was over 6 foot, that's going to be quite cramped. It's just this car's exterior proportions. They look good, but they don't allow for a lot of space in the back here, and it doesn't get much better in the boot. I did an airport run the other day and we were 4 adults with 2 large suitcases, and well, one of the suitcases had to go on the back seat because you can only get 1 large suitcase in the boot of the Mazda. And sure, there's a little bit of space to the side, a bit in front, and maybe enough space for a laptop bag or 2 on top, but that's about it. We lose a lot of boot space with our South African Mazdas because they come with a nearly full-size spare. So if you're the sort of family who has to carry a lot of stuff around, like prams and things, I don't think this is the car for you. And here is my favorite thing about the Mazda CX-3. This is the key, which is going in my pocket. Now, to unlock the car, I simply walk up to the front door and hit this little button here. That works on the boot as well, by the way. I get in, go off, do my things, come back. When I want to leave the car, one beep tells me that all the doors are closed, and then it locks itself. Why don't all cars do that? I think that's the overall theme of the CX-3. It's clever. There are well thought out touches everywhere you look. It's comfortable, it's fuel efficient, it looks really good, and I think that it actually represents quite good value for money. You can get into the range for 274,000 Rand, but the top of the range model I've been driving, the individual auto, that's 350,000. And while I think you might find more practical cars at that price point, you probably won't find more premium cars. I think that's it. I think the CX-3 is perfect for the buyer who's looking for something stylish over something that is absolutely practical.